Hey, what is up, DCS Crew? We have an interesting little guy here in front of me, and I'm gonna have to go ahead and see if maybe I can zoom in on it a little bit more, because I got a feeling if I don't, you'll probably miss it. This is the Bestech Tulip. This is an Ostap Hel design, and it's based on the flower, the tulip. And without giving too much away, I really had to go ahead and take a closer look at this guy and provide a review. There are two versions currently out when it comes to the locking mechanism. There's a frame lock and a ball lock. This is the frame lock, and this is new for 2020. There are a couple other versions, but I did want to go ahead and talk about this because this encompasses a lot of the things that you would typically find on the frame lock version. So Ostap Hel created this for Bestech, and you may know him as the designer behind the Real Steel Metamorph. I'm going to try and link that in the video or even in the description, maybe add that at the end so you can look at that. Another really great knife, also a front flipper, but that one is quite a bit bigger, and the materials are actually a bit more inferior compared to this little guy right here. As you can see, very thin, this is very fifth pocket friendly. This is a very office friendly knife, but some high-end materials here. So what's up with the Bestech Tulip? Well, I guess we're gonna have to find out after the intro. So stay tuned. Guys, now welcome back. As I was stating before, this is the Bestech Tulip, and this is a small little flower named and flower designed folder from Ostap Hel. Okay, he has done some work with Bestech. He actually has a folder out with We Knife Company, and this is his small but big collaboration with Bestech, and I'll tell you why in a second. So basically, this is a it's a weathered titanium handle and a frame lock. So the frame lock is a bit different from the standard version, which is cool. It tackles both markets, and in a sense that you have a lock version for markets that do like and do allow for knives that lock. Now, for knives that are not allowed to lock, like say in the UK or in Europe, two-handed opening knives, or even places in the United States that require you to have a knife that does not lock, like a slip joint or something like that. There's actually a version with what's called a ball lock, and that's basically their version of a non-locking mechanism that works, I believe, off of pressure, much like a double to 10 slip joint. So this version actually is the one that I'm going to talk about. So this basically the edge on this one kind of mimics the his take on the Japanese kiridashi, and aside from that, you can notice that this is something that is not very big, and I'll put it here in my hands, and you can see even like that, I don't have big hands, so you can see just how big this guy is. This is a total of about 4 inches long, and the blade is actually 1.38 inches. Let me see if I can get that into the camera a little bit, okay? And this weighs in at less than 2 ounces. I believe it's about 1.6, 1.7, probably right in between. And this here is lightly stonewashed blade. It is M390 steel. You see the Bestech insignia, Ostap Hel design, and M390 on that side, which indicates the steel. You do have some jimping over here. There is some nice styling to the actual blade itself, and you have a nice sterile pivot here, and actually back, I want to say the back screw here that connects the oh my gosh, I'm running over my words today. The pivot over here is what you use to be able to go ahead and disassemble the knife. You have a nice pocket clip, but in all honesty, this doesn't really feel like it needs a pocket clip. This is because this is a really nice fifth pocket knife. You can actually take this off and slip it into your fifth pocket. And this would actually be something really nice to be able to go ahead and tap for a lanyard. And I believe, actually, no, there is a hole that is in between right here. Let me see if I can go ahead and show that a little bit more in the light. There is a hole here, so you can go ahead and loop some thin paracord and use that to just go ahead and take out and then use as your backup, or even just a gentleman's knife. This is a really nice knife to be able to keep at the office. People would see this and they'd be like, oh my God, it's so cute. Well, for me, actually, this thing, it's pretty much all business. You have a nice flat blade area. This is extremely nice for scraping, for, you know, getting up close, and just, it's kind of like it kind of reminds me of those utility knives that you get, those X-Acto knives, you know, that sort of thing. But I mean, we're talking about an M390 X-Acto knife here, and this is something that just, it feels like, while it's really small, you can actually put it at the base of your hand right here, grab it by, you know, put your thumb by the pivot, put your finger right here, at least how I do it, and then just go ahead and hold it right here, securing the lock here with your finger, and then just using it that way, and you get a nice precision cut. This is actually pretty interesting in the fact that I didn't think I would get, you know, that much work out of it, and I actually have. It's pretty surprising. So there are a lot of different versions of this particular knife. At the beginning, when they were talking about the design on this knife, Ostap was talking, I believe, to Knife News about it, and he said that, well, he was looking for either S35VN or M390. Evidently, you know, they chose just Boulder M390 because at the end of the day, that's always something that people, you know, really equate to quality, and Bestech really does their M390 well. I haven't had any issues with it so far. In all honesty, the majority of the knives that I've used from Bestech are D2, and they do an exceptional job with that. So with M390, I mean, as long as they get the heat treat right, you know, it pretty much handles itself. And being that this is a nice flat blade shape, it sharpens really well. You can use a guided sharpener, like something like the Spyderco Sharp Maker, you know, the Triangle Sharp Maker, or something along those lines, and you can get this back to hair popping sharp. Even something like a small you know, leather strop with some compound, you just kind of like swipe it through here and there. It's very easy. It's kind of like basically like a straight razor, and you get it back to nice hair popping sharpness. I mean, this tip is extremely nice for you know, piercing, and then just because of the blade shape, it basically, you know, causes it to keep opening and opening and opening, and then you can slice really well. It's really good for precision cuts. Bestech is known for having these interesting designs and these smaller designs. I know that they have like the Imp, but I feel like this is probably one of their smallest knives, if not their smallest knife overall. I mean, like I said, this is 4 inches overall. You got 1.38, I want to say, or 1.4 inches on this. And I mean, I think that the handle itself is just over, you know, 2.3, maybe 2.4 inches overall. I mean, this is a really small knife. And I guess just to kind of give you a comparison, I'm going to show you some other small knives. This is the Kaiser Mini Sheepdog. Okay, this is the CJRB small feldspar. Notice I said small, and even at that, they're still towering over this freaking knife. I have here the, oh, here's another one from Bestech. This is the Texel. This is an Adam Purvis design, also bigger than, actually here, no, I will keep that there. And let me see here, that's also a lot bigger than this particular design. You have the Civivi Elementum right here, okay? And last but not least, this is the SOG Terminus XR in S35VN steel, okay? All Chinese made, D2 M390 S35VN, but they are all bigger, and I mean way, way bigger than the Bestech Knives Tulip, okay? So The good about this, I mean, you have, something that tackles a lot of different markets here. You have a non-locking ball lock version, and then you have this version, which is new for 2020. They have a bunch of different anodized versions. They have like kind of this aged titanium, which personally is my favorite version, okay? You have the frame lock here. You can get this, if I'm not mistaken, in a stonewash or a satin blade version. It's a front flipper, and I mean, you can open it a couple of different ways. Personally, you can choose to open it very quickly, or you can roll it out. It is on bearings, if I recall correctly. This is an Ostap Hel design. He always comes out with these really unique designs, and this is no exception. And I mean, while it's small, it actually works extremely well as a utility knife. Now, there's a couple of things that I did want to go ahead and mention about this knife that I kind of felt, did need to be spoken up about with this particular knife. So one thing is the pricing. Now, yes, I get it. It's high quality materials. You have titanium, you have M390 steel, and the design and the production on this is, spot on. But you're talking at about 125-ish, 126, if I'm not mistaken, for these. It could be a little bit more depending on the materials that you're gonna get. But for the most part, you're seeing it at, I think the MSRP is 149, so that would make the MAP price from Bestech about 126. That's going to be kind of difficult for some people to look at as far as a production knife, to look at for something like this. Now, granted, being that I have checked out some of Ostap's, other knives and, his other designs, I can tell you that, this is definitely worth, checking out. Even at the 126, you might actually be able to find it at some other discounted sites, with their 10% off models, their 10% off codes. And if they do have it in those websites and you are looking for a code, feel free to go ahead and DM me, and I'd be more than happy to go ahead and help you out. Aside from that, there is one other small detail that I do want to go ahead and talk about, and it is the tip. Okay, the tip is very sharp, and I can tell you that it's very sharp because just from opening and closing and being fidgety with it, I actually cut myself, and it's actually been a little while since I've actually nicked myself with a knife. But this guy did bite me, and I bled a little bit for the first day, and then it was perfectly fine the rest of the time. But the Tulip did bite me. I don't know if it was opening or closing it, but it definitely did take a bite out of me. I guess it didn't really like that it was being handled like, very, very sloppily. You do have to take some care when opening this knife, and this isn't the kind of knife that you just give to somebody and you expect them to open and use, because of the fact that it is a front flipper, okay? Granted, it's very easy to operate, but this is the kind of knife that you want to be able to go ahead and use yourself. This isn't the type that you would give to somebody else. If I were to give something to somebody else, I would use something like a flipper, something like that, or even something that's even easier that allows you to be able to go ahead and just use, like an assisted opening, like the Kershaw Blur. Granted, that's a lot bigger than this, but I digress. That is a bit of an issue, okay? Now, aside from that, the fact that it has this pocket clip, I really don't feel that it really needed the pocket clip. I think that this is more of just your standard fifth pocket knife, or even just a knife that you would slip into your pocket. The only problem is if it slips into your pocket and for whatever reason you have something that happens to hit that and to open it, number one, you're gonna poke yourself. Number two, you're probably gonna slice yourself when it kind of comes up out of your jeans or anything like that, or any of your slacks, and then you're gonna end up with a little bit of blood inside of your pocket, a little stain in your pants, and you're gonna have a story to tell some people. You're probably gonna hate this knife, and you're not gonna want to carry it. So, the choice is yours if you choose to go ahead and do that. Now, I personally like it a lot. If you choose to be very careful with the knife, I think that this is something that it would make a really, really good office or gentleman's carry. I've been doing a couple of those a little bit more often because, being that I do work in an office setting, I like to see as many of those as possible. And I might do a segment of just the office carry style blades. So I did want to talk about this. This is a great little everyday, carry knife. And if you're somebody that wants to be a bit unassuming, you have your keys, you have a bunch of other things that you carry with you, and you don't want something that's gonna, carry you know, too heavy in the pocket, and it's not going to seem to, you know, too assuming and too tactical. I mean, this is really nice. I mean, you can actually see it just alongside some of the other things that I keep in my pocket. This is a Swiss Army knife. This is the Spartan model, and you know, it is smaller than my Swiss Army knife. I mean, this is a Winkler Knives keychain that I picked up, and it's you know, just about that size, maybe a little bit bigger. And this is the Nightcore Tiki, and as you can see, it's pretty much it's just about the same size, if not a little bit bigger than the Nightcore Tiki. You know, having something like this is a nice little EDC setup, you know, that anybody can pick up and use, and it's nice to have something like this around, especially when you're on more of a minimalist setup and you can't carry something that's even a smaller size, you know, like the CJRB Feldspar, you know, the small version, or even a bigger one like, you know, the Concept Sprite. I mean, look at the difference in size between these, and I'm gonna go ahead and do this one last time so you can see what I'm talking about. And I really like opening it up like that, by the way. But look at the difference. I mean, look, it's smaller in size overall than the handle itself on the Concept Sprite. Okay, so so what is the take on it? Well, I think that it has a definite following for people who like knives of this size, but I don't think that the audience is as broad as somebody who would carry something like this as their EDC style knife. But it's a give and take, because, you know, there are certain groups that knives like this are particularly made for. Like I said earlier, there are people who want the ball lock version because maybe they are in a location where the jurisdiction, the laws and jurisdictions do not allow them to carry a knife that is a locking blade. Maybe it has to be less than 3 inches. Maybe, you know, it can only be like a slip joint style knife, you know, and in court, I mean, it's pretty difficult, you know, to go ahead and convince them that this is not a menacing knife and you know, that it's just a tool. I mean, I know a lot of people who have had stuff like this in their luggage, gone to New York, and they've been caught by the police. It's been confiscated, and they've been put in jail for something so insignificant as this, as if this is going to cause, you know, a murdering spree. Now, granted, it's got a blade, so you can kill yourself with it and you can kill somebody with it, but the truth is, knives are tools. It's one of the first tools that man ever used, and this is something that at the end of the day, you know, is meant to be used as a tool. So does it do the job? Yes. Do I think that you should check it out? I really do. If you're looking for a very small blade, something that's unassuming, maybe something you carry in your fifth pocket, or maybe something you just want that's small. I think it has, you know, some practicality to it, but I don't think it has the niche that, you know, other small, you know, locking knives are. But granted, I'm in a location that allows me to carry this kind of a knife, something much bigger. So if I were to get one of the versions of this knife, it would definitely be the version with the frame lock that you see here. Okay, so what can I say about it? I mean, it's small, it's really light, it's very unassuming. I think you should check it out. At least if you happen to see it in the store, go ahead and put it in your hand, go ahead and open it a few times. It might actually surprise you. And this is really, from what Ostap Hel had mentioned from Knife News, it's part of the Bestech bouquet line that he's actually trying to go ahead and produce with them. Now, I can't really speak too much about future releases, and I know that he's coming out with a few designs with some other companies, but that's in a whole other video in itself, and that's a whole other ball of wax. This is based on the Tulip. In fact, when you look at it closed, he said that the handle is supposed to be shaped like petals in a closed tulip flower. So it is actually based on, you know, it's built mostly on curves, arcs, and circles, you know, and that's based on his explanation directly. I mean, his inspiration for this came from a bouquet of real life tulips that his wife bought, you know, in the spring. So he's like, okay, well, let me go ahead and design something. And the guy is a fantastic designer, if you've seen some of his stuff. I think it's pretty cool. So would I carry it? Yeah, because I have carried it, and I've actually carried it in my pocket. I've used it, and I found that it actually does its job, especially when you don't want to bring out something that's huge like this, you know, but you don't want to necessarily use something like a Swiss Army knife to be able to go ahead and take care of a task. Now, am I going to cut a steak with it? No, but if you have a small cutting task that you need to be able to use this knife with, if you need to cut down maybe even some boxes and stuff, this is great. This has like that kind of kiridashi style, you know, flat bladed, even X-Acto knife style look, you know, to it, to where, you know, like I told you that I've been doing, I've been placing it in the center of my hand. I use my thumb to hold the pivot, and then I put my fingers right here, you know, securing the frame lock with my middle finger, and using my index finger kind of as a leverage and a pressure, so a pressure finger, so that I can just go ahead and allow those very precision cuts with this knife, and it does the job. So this is the Bestech Knives Tulip. It's an Ostap Hel design, an M390. This is the frame lock version in like a distressed blackened titanium. Feel free to go ahead and check this out when it is available, because I don't believe that even Blade HQ has this yet as of the date of this video, but they do have a bunch of different versions in blue, pink titanium. They have a gray titanium, purple, and they are going to have these coming out very soon in this kind of distressed titanium. I think that this is a really cool design, very masculine even, and just really cool. I really like this design. It came nice and centered. It's on ball bearings. It is a manual flipper, and it is right-handed tip up only. So sorry lefties, well, but in any case, you can always just go ahead and take this off and use it as a standard knife in your fifth pocket with a lanyard. So there you go, guys. But remember, no matter what you end up carrying, okay, whether it's this guy, whether it is the SOG Terminus XR, whether it's the CJRB Feldspar Small, whether it's the Kaiser Mini Sheepdog, if you EDC, think of DCS. Thank you so much for checking out this review on the Bestech Knives Tulip Frame Lock Flipper. This is a front flipper from Bestech, designed by Ostap Hel. And thank you so much for tuning into the channel. If you like what you see, feel free to subscribe. Send me a question at instagram.com/dailycarrysolutions or dailycarrysolutions@gmail.com. Thank you again to Bestech for providing this knife. I'm going to go ahead and send this back to them with, you know, a few more notes and a few more thoughts that I had on this particular knife. But yeah, this is a really cool little knife. So that being said, take it easy, guys. I will see you on the flip side. Peace.